All you had to do is look at other countries.
Stranded in my bedroom, no one to love. Then there he is.
Let us give you an update as to where we are today.
My favorite guy. He's the earth and heaven to you. Try and keep it hidden. Honey, we can see right through. But you bring hope when I can't cope. I guess I'm saying I love you so. Oh, Andy. Oh, Andy, baby. Someday, if we're on Earth, for what it's worth, I hope they make you king. You run my state while I gain weight with grace and dignity. Oh, please be my dad. Oh, Andy.
Huh. A little rewind from last year. I had to see it, so you did too. Yep, that was a love song made for Andrew Cuomo, the current governor of New York, a man with multiple allegations of inappropriate behavior with women right now, and a man arguably with his policies that has created the most amount of human life loss, human suffering, and job loss in this country. And yet he still holds a major position of power over people. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Lukadowski of WeAreChange.org. In this video, we are going to go into detail about your servitude and the increasing amount of poverty that is growing in the United States, all done under the, quote, wokest presidency of our lifetime. Lots of things to get into, so we're just going to jump right into it with, of course, a very important reminder that a lot of times when you're reading the mainstream media, reading newspapers, most times when you're consuming that media, there's a high probability that you're actually consuming propaganda, as recently disclosed how the Chinese government, through their media outlet, has literally been placing stories disguised as advertisements in the New York Times and Washington Post. The amount of ads is staggering. We're talking about hundreds of ads a year that are absolutely indistinguishable from, of course, the quote news articles in these newspapers that, of course, serve a propaganda purpose. And if you look at the pictures on your screen right now, obviously these lucrative ad deals with these mainstream media papers show you how these, quote, authoritative sources, the mainstream media, the, quote, trusted sources that big tech loves so dearly and trusts fully, have essentially sold out to Chinese communist propaganda. And if they're helping create propaganda like this, what else are they willing to compromise their morals to? As of course, a lot of people already think that news is, quote, rich people paying rich people to tell middle-class people to blame poor people. And I think there is a very fair representation of some of the mainstream media, especially with the poor people becoming more prominent in our society, with the very worrying signs unfolding in our economy right now that absolutely deserve our attention at this moment. Lumber, for an example, has recently gone up 232%. On average, the cost of making a new home went up $36,000 because of the surge in pricing in commonly used items and also commodities that keep going up and up, while corporations are selling less and less products for the same price that you previously paid for them before. Like a perfect example with Costco that recently has decided to charge the same price for paper towels, which they now have 20 fewer sheets than they had before. A fact, of course, that they don't publicize or talk about, but this is what many people call shrinkflation. I think this is very perfectly represented by also a bag of potato chips, and it's a way for multinational corporations to raise prices without people noticing. And when it comes to commonly used household items or food products, this effect is happening, and it's happening at a very high rate, very quickly, as also at the same time, the richest people in this world are becoming richer, and the poor are becoming poorer, mainly as a result response to the very heavy-handed lockdowns that happened last year. That, of course, shut down small and independent businesses, while, of course, forcing people to go to Walmart and Amazon. The richest people in this country are still reaping wide-ranging benefits from that government policy, and, of course, other government policies that are being instituted by, of course, government officials who are claiming that they're going to be going after rich people. Now, of course, the term rich has to be put in context here. It has many meanings to many different people, but I think it's safe to say that the multinational billionaire class is safe here, while, of course, a prosperous small business that does well for themselves is in absolute trouble. Of course, we have the latest data, according to Bloomberg, highlighting how the richest people in the United States added $195 billion to their net worth during Biden's first 100 days. This, of course, as Biden plans to expand the IRS audits on average Americans and, quote, tax increases on supposedly the rich. We're still waiting to get exact details of what the Biden administration is planning, but I think it's definitely safe to say that the man who represented the corporate multinational establishment for nearly 50 years in politics is most likely going to represent and protect the multinational corporate establishment. As we're getting information that the Biden administration is working on behest of the GMO corn industry, trying to stop Mexico from blocking its use in its country. We also found out that Biden sent more troops into Afghanistan to the benefit of the military-industrial complex. The larger troop withdrawal is, of course, still in question, as individuals like Condoleezza Rice and Hillary Clinton are set to testify to keep U.S. troops in this constant, perpetual state of war that has absolutely no benefit to anyone except for the military-industrial complex. And let's talk about the most naive and idiotic policy proposition by the Biden administration, and that is to ban menthol cigarettes. All of this as, of course, he was a massive supporter of lockdowns, which greatly benefited his billionaire buddies and backers. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that a couple people making hundreds of thousands of dollars, a couple millionaires will definitely get hit with more regulations, with more taxes, with more big government. While, of course, it's safe to say that the billionaire class will always be protected by the man who has protected them for nearly 50 years. And the way that the government has done that with lockdowns has severe, large economic effects that we have still yet to feel the full effects of, that I want to discuss in full detail here. But before we do that, plus a lot more, I wanted to remind everyone that we rely here on your support to keep this independent media organization up and running. We have been fully demonetized, and one very easy way to support us is by checking out some cool products that I personally use and I personally like. One of them is safepreparedandready.com. I really like these guys. I've been using them for a while. A number of years now. I personally like them for camping trips. I think it's very smart to have some kind of storable food inside of your house, whether it's rice or beans. But if you're looking for some premium stuff that lasts you 25 years, is great for camping trips, check out safepreparedandready.com, since in my opinion they really do provide a good service. And if you want the shirt that I'm wearing right now in this video, don't forget to go to thebestpoliticalshirts.com. We just released 2 new t-shirts. 3 new t-shirts, actually, that we can't show you here. And in related things we can't show you here, I just wanted to remind everyone that I am not doing a Luke Uncensored video today. I will do a more extensive, more well-researched one tomorrow that I need more time to do research for. So definitely stay tuned for that update. And thank you so much for supporting us. Now, the New York Post came out with a very interesting article that was titled, "States with Strictest Lockdowns Ruined Livelihoods Without Saving Lives." And I think it's a very interesting story that is worth considering, that is worth talking about. Now, again, of course, I am not a medical doctor, but I think examining some of the larger reactions to what happened last year is absolutely crucial and critical in moving forward and holding corrupt powers accountable. And when looking at some of the preliminary official data from the official sources, this assertion is true. The lockdowns ruined the livelihoods of millions of people, and there is data showing that it didn't save any lives. And now we have a larger financial tsunami coming our way, which we're still not feeling the full ramifications and effects from, that will be devastating to the poorest people in this country. And we're going to be seeing those effects in Hawaii, California, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and New York that had the strictest lockdowns are facing massive economic problems compared to, of course, states like Texas and Florida that are showing prosperity in their financial economic figures. There's even a study by the University of Chicago that was published showing specifically how there was no detectable effects of lockdown policies on the spread of this sickness or the deaths, quote, related to this sickness. There's another study in the Journal of Frontiers, a peer-reviewed study by European epidemiologists that states lockdowns did not appear to have linked with the death rate at all. And if we're going to be following the science here, there's a lot of science highlighting an aspect of this that is becoming more and more obvious. The billionaires are benefiting from these lockdowns while everyone else is not. And this needs to have some ramifications and at least a conversation about. We have to ask ourselves what's going on here when the Hasidic Orthodox community in Brooklyn, when the people celebrating the Super Bowl in Tampa all weren't obliterated as all the, quote, medical professionals and mainstream media said that they would. And there's this very interesting article here by Wired that talks about the, quote, hygiene hypotheses, hinting at the possibility that these lockdowns actually prevented natural herd immunity from being reached and could potentially create a worse off situation than the one that we're in right now. And when you look at the, quote, official data unfolding in Europe right now, countries who were hit hard before are not being hit hard now. Countries who weren't hit hard before are being hit harder now. And there are some medical professionals hinting that these lockdowns are counterintuitive, stop the possibility of, quote, herd immunity, and creates a worse off situation that could potentially prolong this sickness and create different variants that could have a worse effect from people that never got this. And that's why propaganda puff pieces by USA Today, like this right now, blaming people who don't want to get the shot on not being able to get herd immunity, are absolutely disingenuous and completely lack an honest scientific discussion here. Since, of course, even according to many medical professionals, even according to Nature.com, it's still unclear whether these shots prevent the transmission. We don't know how many people have natural immunity. And Nature.com's article even goes to state that herd immunity, specifically with this shot, is, quote, probably impossible. Now again, I'm not a medical professional. I think some of these questions are important. I think there should be at least a conversation about this. I don't think we should just blindly believe individuals like Bill Gates that argue for intellectual property of ingredients of the shot and many other different shots that, of course, he is invested in and is set to gain profits from. Bill Gates publicly does not want to share the formula and the ingredients of many shots that, according to the official story, would help out the global poor. That is the argument he is making, not me. And I personally think until we start having reasonable, honest, scientific-backed conversations, there's reasons to ask questions and for accountability for all the politicians here that arguably made this situation a lot worse than it is. When average people lie, like the momfluencer, they go to jail. When politicians lie, well, they usually get protected. So yeah, if you're a billionaire, you're going to be doing great. If you're anywhere else below that and you're doing okay, watch out. That's my own personal belief. That's my own personal opinion. If you think I was wrong in any way, shape, or form, let me know why down in the comment section below. I always appreciate you guys sharing these videos, getting them out there to your friends and family members. Because you guys do that, I wouldn't be here. Double-clicking the URL right now, sending it. Send it to your cousin. This is today's daily made-up homework task that doesn't really exist, that you don't really need to do. I believe in voluntarism. But hey, send this video to your favorite cousin and let them know, hey, you should become a billionaire or you're going to be screwed soon. And because you guys do that, I'm still here. This is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.